Try loving me. All I ask is you will try loving me. Cause loving me ain't easy. I know it ain't.
What's going on, and welcome to Black Kings and Queens Free Game. Look, everybody, we're here, but we have a special guest, and her name is Janice Baker. Janice, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. I'm glad you can make it out because today, I have something that I'd like to talk about. And I know we're not in Black History Month, but I think it's something that needs some attention. It's a lot of things that we go through, especially in school, that we didn't learn about. Would you agree?
Agree.
Okay. So some of these things are pretty bad. And I can understand on why they would want to forget about it. But I can't, because the world is changing and time keeps moving. And the further we get away from that situation, the more people are going to forget. Would you agree?
I agree.
Okay. So first, how's your week been so far?
Week's been good. It's been a little light week, but, glad we're on the hump and almost to Friday.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
You trick-or-treating tomorrow?
No trick-or-treating for me.
You giving out candy?
No candy.
Oh, you a real hater.
No.
Oh, you a real hater? Yeah, she's a real... Nah, I understand. Some people don't give out candy, and I get it. My pastor done talked to me about that too. But how do you feel about the school system and some of the things that, like Black History Month? How you feel about... Do you think we need to get deeper with it? Well, not the school system, but in general, as parents.
Again, I think learning starts at home.
Yes.
So we have to lay the foundation early so we create interest with our children as far as knowing what our history looks like and exposing our kids. Again, we come from an area with a lot of historical value. And so some things don't take much. All you have to do is just go down 84 and just take a couple of museum trips and,
You're right.
Go to Sunbury, go to Midway. There's several places that you can start exposing your children, but, it starts with those stories,
Yes.
Bible stories, and then history stories, and, just helping kids understand where they come from and why the world is the way that it is. And I think that's why a lot of our kids don't understand why we're in the place that we're in right now.
To me, it just feels different. Like when we went to Bible school, it felt like we were more in depth. Like they went deeper with us now. Even with learning the books of the Bible. We paid attention to it. We had to learn it. And nowadays, when I see it, it's a lot more fun, but I don't see the learning. Like in Vacation Bible School, I remember we used to have to learn that stuff, like for real. And at the end, everybody would recite what they learned. But like nowadays, it's more. Go ahead, pick it up. We're live, y'all. Pick it up. Let's see what he says.
Hey, Mitch, you're on the air. Mitch, you're on the air. And you're on speaker.
Oh, you're on the air?
Yeah, you're on the air, bro. Look, that's Mitchell. That's King Boston right there, reflecting in. He's out there working hard.
King Mosley, Queen Baker. I think I got it. I'm out here killing some bugs.
Yo, matter of fact, he right down the street though. He right down the street killing bugs. So he's doing his thing, y'all. Shouts out to Magnum Pest Control.
Yeah, I gotta go stop by Midway Middle too. So I'm gonna be out all night.
Okay.
Y'all hold it down. I'll be back.
All right. Good night.
Like we were saying though, things have changed and it does start at home. But when I'm talking about history, there's something that happened in history that people might not know about. Black Wall Street. Have you heard of it?
Have heard of it.
Okay.
Have some friends from Tulsa.
Okay. Yep. Tulsa, Oklahoma. And there was a city that was really all black, and they had businesses, they had movie theaters, they had banks, and that system was in place. So just to introduce it, will you go ahead and play that video for us?
In the heart of Tulsa, Oklahoma, lay a remarkable testament to Black American resilience and prosperity known as Black Wall Street. This vibrant enclave, thriving with businesses, culture, and a spirit of self-reliance, stood as a beacon of success and accomplishment. But in 1921, this beacon was dimmed by one of the most devastating racial massacres in American history. A white mob, fueled by unfounded allegations, unleashed a torrent of violence upon Greenwood, erasing decades of black economic progress overnight. Thousands were displaced, their dreams turned to ashes. Yet, the legacy of Black Wall Street endures, a poignant reminder of the community's strength and determination to rebuild from the ruins. It's a saga not just of profound loss, but of unwavering hope and the enduring spirit of a people determined to rise again.
Yes. That, folks, is Black Wall Street. And as you can see in the video, just like you saw it, that is how it was flourishing. Now, could you picture that?
I'm a product of it.
So, with it not being like in, main history books or something that's talked about, why do you think that is?
I think we as black people are very resilient. We figure it out. We make it happen. And we provide. I think black men have always been raised to be providers. And so, you have resilient people who created something probably out of nothing and built it, from the ground up from wherever they were, or they migrated and did it, on their own. And when I say I'm a product of it, I only know that because, I don't know if I've mentioned it on the show before, but the area on Fort Stewart before Fort Stewart was Camp Stewart, and all of the black families that were moved from there, the Smileys, the Bakers, the Frasers, there's several, families who lived out on the area, as my grandfather would call it, and they had their own farms, they had their own turpentines and stores, and it was a community. And so these communities were uprooted and only given like $15. But in this video, it was actually taken away and burnt down. So when you see, success and what it looks like, and where it came from, sometimes, you just don't get to flourish the way you want to, and it's taken away because you are doing your best. You've been blessed to have, the knowledge and the tenacity to do what it is that you need to do. So, it's not that we can't have, or we don't have, or we don't know how to do it and make it happen. A lot of times people don't like to see you succeed, and they make it a point to just take it away and do something else where that can make them prosper in a different kind of way. And we've seen it before.
Yes.
In different, I'll say in Liberty County, we've seen it before, but you have to just keep going and protect yourself and figure out what's the next thing, because what God gives to you, no one can take from you. You just figure it out and keep moving. So,
And if you guys missed it, what she's speaking of is, Fort Stewart was once owned by people before it was Fort Stewart.
Black people.
By black people. And that was their farmlands. So just like what I'm going to show you in just a second, I'm going to show you a little bit more of how it looked. And then we're going to get something from someone who survived. You're going to see her speak about what happened. So stay tuned. This is a teaching moment here on Black Kings and Queens today. So I'll tell you what, let's show them the video.
Some African American communities are prospering, like the residents of Greenwood, a suburb of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Here, former slaves were given land after the Civil War, and this rare footage shows the thriving town they built. A remarkable Baptist pastor named Solomon Sir Jones is the pioneering filmmaker. His footage was lost for more than 50 years. Jones captures the bustling life of Greenwood, which could be any American small town. But Tulsa's whites don't like what they see. In May 1921, after a black man is accused of assaulting a white woman, a white mob rampages through the city. For a night and a day, they loot and burn Greenwood. A Fox News crew captures the only surviving footage. It is the bloodiest racial massacre in American history, leaving nearly 300 dead.
So that was like a brief history of what happened. And now we're going to let you see a survivor. She actually survived this. And this is her story of how she survived and what happened.
Do you know her age?
Her age, she's 106. Yes.
106?
I think she's 106. I might be wrong, but we'll see here in just a second. But I believe she's 106, and she survived this, man. And when she tells you what happened, this is her, account of what happened. It just brings some type of reality to where we've come from and what our ancestors went through. So we're going to go ahead and play that video now for you guys, okay? All right, stay tuned.
Well, so they didn't start to burn and pillage until they decided, well, all right, we have to teach them a lesson. The Ku Klux decided we have to teach them a lesson. So actually, we as children didn't hear any noise or any shots the night of the 31st of May. But on June 1st, they began to systematically destroy neighborhoods. And they had airplanes dropping things down on people's houses, and they had made up their minds to clear the entire area of black people. So most of the people fled. When they saw houses burning and the streets behind them, they left. But my mother was determined not to flee, and she poured water on everything she could put water on, trying to make the house safe so it wouldn't burn. But the first thing they did when the militia came was to take all the men, and they took my 8-year-old brother too, to a place, bullpen or some place where they were holding all the black men. And we didn't know, because we lived on one side of town and they lived on the other, we didn't know they weren't doing the same thing. The militia, you have to obey the militia, so we thought they were locking up the non-blacks too. But it so happened that it didn't occur that way. What they did was to disarm and lock up all black men. And then they said to the mob, there's nothing out there now but women and children, so you can do whatever you want to do. And that was when the real terrible things started to happen, because they would invade your house. And my mother had a very strong will. She was a Tuskegee graduate, and she had been trained to teach. But she decided, well, we have to eat no matter what's happening out there in the world. So she had 3 triangular pots that you could put 3 pots on one gas eye on the stove. So she was cooking, and she made biscuits, and they were in the oven. Well, when the crowd came in to pillage and burn, they were infuriated because here's this woman cooking cream of wheats and making applesauce and cooking biscuits instead of being terrified and running from us. So I think they thought they had to teach us a special lesson. So they first took the food out. Of course, the children are cowering under this big oak table where my mother had put us. And then we saw them take our food out and throw it in the dirt. And then they came back and got the biscuits and took them out and stomped them in the dirt. And then they came back in to destroy whatever they didn't want to take with them.
So that was an account from a lady that is in her hundreds. In her hundreds. And you know, it's amazing that she's able to still tell that story. She still has her right mind. She seems like she can get around. Mm-hmm. And that's important. That's important. I mean, because we might not have heard that story if she wasn't around to tell it, you know?
Mm-mm. Not at all.
So with hearing that, how does that make you feel, Janice?
How far we've come.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, there's so much that happened during that time, but we'll never get to hear the stories or understand, you know, what that felt like. And I think the generation now are so passive about, you know, things like that, but we're not so far removed from it. Like, literally was like my grandmother and my grandmother's mother. Like, they were the ones who lived through, you know, things like that. And, you know, it's hard to, when you see it through their eyes, I think you have a different perspective. So when it touches a little closer to home, you understand.
Yeah, that with her just having accounts of even the meal that they were having, that's remarkable. That's remarkable. And it's stories we got with each one of our families that, you know, my folks have told me some stories of things that's happened, and your folks have told you things that happened. And I guess I don't want people to forget, you know, because we've come a long, long way. It was a hard path.
And I said my grandparents, but truly my parents, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, my father graduated from Liberty County High School. They would call it the old Liberty County High School. So, you know, schools were segregated back then. And, you know, in that era, you know, it was a different type of pride that, you know, any graduate of Liberty County, shout out to all the old Liberty County High School graduates who wear purple and gold. They have pride. They still have pride. And when they all get together, when they named the Sam Harris Gym, and they all showed up with their jackets, and you know, it's just a blessing to see them all just show up and still have that same type of pride for their school. Yes. And you talked about teachers and learning so much. I think back during that time, they had teachers who were dedicated to the craft of teaching. You look at people like Ms. Robinson, and you look at people, I don't want to miscall any names because I don't know them all. But those individuals who taught in that era back at Liberty County High School, and who were our Sunday school teachers, and they still tried to be teachers up until their 80s and 90s. Like, they would still go above and beyond to still do. You don't have that level of dedication with people anymore.
Thank you. You're right. You're right. It's like they don't take pride in it anymore. Like the respect level.
Or to study. Take time to study and be prepared. Preparation.
It's not as important to people because, you know why? and I hate to sound like one of the older folks that I would used to listen to, this doggone social media.
Get me started with that.
Look, I'm telling you, because a lot of your younger generation think, well, that's the only way I'm gonna make it. Right there, I'm gonna be my own star. I'm gonna be a superstar, and some of the things these people are doing to get attention is not respectful. You got people throwing water balloons at folks. It's all types of things.
It's funny.
Pranking. And then when people get hurt, it's like, hey, we told y'all that everybody don't play. You gonna run up on an 80s baby. And the 80s baby's gonna be like, what's going on?
What's wrong with you?
Exactly. But they think it's fun. Mm-hmm. And if we don't start taking that pride and that unity and getting it back, where are we headed?
Don't know, but it starts with us being their kids' first teachers.
Yeah.
And we have to be first teachers. And I know we're going to talk about this today, but because it is Election Day in about 6 days.
Yes.
One of my teachable moments was always going to the voting polls with my mother and pulling the curtain back when we had a curtain to pull, and pulling the lever and being able, I didn't know what I was doing at the time. All I knew was I got a sticker and maybe a piece of candy, maybe back during that time.
The dum-dums.
Yeah. And you got to vote. And so you got excited when you got a sticker. But we have to take the opportunity to have teachable moments and use those teachable moments to know why it's important to vote, and to get children in the habit of voting and hearing and listening and wanting to know when it's time, because a lot of people don't even know when it's time.
Yeah.
Do you know when it's time to go Saturday vote and go early vote? And has early voting ended for you? Do you know? But just to know and be aware, socially aware and not social media aware of what's going on in your community. It's important.
It really is important, because I remember that, man, the old school levers, and then the things, and then you go, and they had the curtains.
Yeah.
That was a time when you were with your parents for important things. They'd be like, all right, now we about to go vote. This is very important.
You probably wasn't tall enough for the curtain to cover you.
Yeah. You got your little body, you looking at everybody. Oh, there goes Janice. Hey, Janice. Yeah, Janice was like 13 when I was 4. But I'm just playing.
That's a lie, people. That's from the pits of hell. That's a lie. All right.
Look, but we've lost touch with that, and it is on the parents, because we make what we want important. We make what we want important.
People make time for what they want.
Yes,
I
they do.
Say that,
yes, they do. And have we been doing that, guys? I know it's a lot of things that I could have made more important, but I was too concerned about other things. And I might have forgotten to do that. But you know what? I'm going to make a conscious effort now, because I still got kids, y'all. They're not going nowhere.
They're not going anywhere.
Right. But making that conscious effort is something that I really need to do. And so you guys know, Saturday. Can you pull it up? Saturday, we have Stacey Abrams in the building. Stacey Abrams will be at the historic Dorchester Academy. That is 8787 East Overthorpe Highway, Midway, Georgia, 31320. That's November 2nd at 2 p.m. It is Get the Vote Rally. Get out the vote.
Get out the
rally.
Vote.
Yeah, I said that wrong. My bad.
Get out the
Every vote counts, and it does. Everyone, you need to take this election very, very seriously. The outcome and the future of our country depends on it. And having Stacey Abrams come down is an honor. We appreciate her coming down to spend some time and explain to people how important it is to get out here and vote.
And I'm sure Stacey has been very instrumental in ensuring that your vote has been secured. We all know she lost her governor race, And after that, she dedicated her time to ensuring that, everybody's vote is secure, protected, and that, we don't have issues with, elections.
Facts.
So she's becoming more of an advocate for the state of Georgia and,
Yes.
in our area.
I remember when she was going for that position in governor. And let me tell you something. She put in work.
Yes.
Do you hear me? She was down here. Wait, I think she might have came twice. I'm not sure, but I think she might have come twice. Do you remember?
I don't.
Okay. But Stacey Abrams was in attendance down here, and she really made her presence felt. I'm talking about all over the state. And people did come out in droves. Now, it might not have been enough then, but you never know what the future holds. But just like that, it doesn't matter what party you align with. It is the dedication that she has and the backing that she has to where we're going to get our kings and queens in positions of authority in order to make changes. And that's what I feel we need. I think a lot of times people get too caught up and they lose connection because we've forgotten that everybody has a difference of opinion. That doesn't mean that person, this is a terrible person because this person doesn't believe the way I do. And it's crazy because when you start looking at it, it looks like it's one-sided on our behalf. So know the importance of your ancestors had to pay a really big price for us to even be here. We could be looked at as less than. We could actually be looked at as less than. And we're not. Because somebody had to take that sacrifice to say, you know what? We can't stand for this anymore. We're going to make this stand. And if we lose some of ourselves, then it is what it is. But we're going to get our future generations to the goal line. So take your vote, very important. Know that you had great leaders to stand in the fold for you in order for you to be here. You had Dr. Martin Luther King, but you had Coretta Scott King also. Malcolm X. And you had so many leaders. And yes, think about it. All our leaders have been taken away. Who's filling those spots now? Where's that direct connection that we had that everybody in the United States that was black knew who Dr. Martin Luther King was? They knew who Malcolm X was. They knew this. Nowadays, who's the direct leader that we have our spokespersons? That we can go all over the United States and say, hey, this person is somebody that's speaking up for our people and we unite behind them. We're not uniting behind anyone right now. Everybody's uniting behind themselves. And it's because of the confusion. The confusion that we can't disagree and still agree on the main issues and keep moving forward. Everybody else is doing it and we're falling behind. We can see everybody else do it. We'll even talk about it. We'll say, well, these people get along because they don't be like crabs in a barrel. Why is it that our sentiments, every time somebody explains why we're not succeeding, that we have to be the crabs in the barrel? If we already know it, then why are we going to continue to be that? Why haven't we changed that? So I know I went off on a tangent there.
Yeah, you
Excuse
did.
me.
You got that off your chest.
Yeah, I did. I did.
Feel better?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, guys. On Saturday, don't forget to go and show your support. Stacey Abrams is at Dorchester Center. We were talking about Black Wall Street originally, and then we got into the vote. One thing I do want to say is, with that situation that happened in Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I want you guys to start doing your research. Start researching. Research Ego Perut. Ego Perut. Ego Perut was in Detroit, Michigan. This was a place that I wanted to discuss probably on another show, guys. But in this, it was a housing project for blacks. And in the 50s, they did chemical warfare. The United States did chemical warfare on the people. They were flying planes over the buildings and dropping radioactive because they wanted to see what it was going to do. And if you want to spell it, it's IGOEPRUIT. And it is, you can Google it. This actually happened. So there's things all over the country here that we live in that has been done. And it's been done to a specific people. And I don't want you guys to forget, because that's what it seems to be. It seems that they're playing a card of forgetfulness. You know, I know all that's changed, but the current atrocities that happen, you have people in the streets, and we don't even live there, and people are taking up for them. And the atrocities that were faced by a certain group of people in this country, I don't see anybody in the streets anymore because it's been forgotten. The lady that we saw earlier, she's 100 and I believe 6. I said 106, maybe 103.
Fact check you on that.
Yeah, you might have to fact check me. That's cool. Go ahead, ABC.
No.
Look, these stories will be lost, especially when you have these folks not here anymore. Mm-hmm. Somebody has to carry it on. We can't forget. Understand this. Oh, no, I'm not just trying to make people mad at other people. I'm not. My thing is, we can't forget where we come from. And we can't forget what happened, because we'll be lost in the future. If we can't, confront what happened to us, we're going to be lost in the future and wondering, how did we end up here? Because there was no correction. Accountability is needed. Accountability is needed. I was going to get into another question. Have you thought about reparations at all? have you thought about reparations, sister?
Of course. Of course.
Do you have an idea? And I'm not going to take up too much time on that, but do you have an idea of how reparations should be distributed?
I just don't even want to talk about that. It's not.
She said she don't want to go to sleep because it's going to be a long conversation. I get it.
You're welcome to.
Well, I'll give a brief synopsis. Look, I feel like a form of reparations is, because right now we're so far away from what happened. Their big excuse would be, well, we don't know who to give it to. We don't know what generation to give it to. Well, I tell you what, if we kept our tax system in place, maybe those people won't pay taxes. If we got health care, maybe those people won't have to pay for any health care. Maybe those people don't have to pay for their education. Maybe those people don't have to pay for a full down payment on any house that they can afford. Things of that nature can affect a generation, because it's generations that's been affected. Whether if today's people didn't do what happened back then, right? What happened back then affected our timeline, because every time we would build, just like Black Wall Street, it would be destroyed. So it's not just Black Wall Street. We got Rosewood. We have Oscarville. We have so many cities that's underwater that were created by us, that the story was lost. And it's like, oh yeah, I remember it was a city there, but it's covered by water now, or they burnt that down. That can't continue to be our excuse on not realizing why we're here. We were getting way too advanced. We were moving at such a high pace. We had respect for one another. We were tight-knit. We held education to a high regard. You guys explain to me, how did that leave? Cause and effect, people. But
What I will say, before we ask for anything, we have a responsibility to take care of what we already have. And when I say that, we all inherit things. And especially in our area, because we're not in a major city, we have privy to have property. And we all have family who has family property. And I've seen families lose property just over not either paying their taxes or either not, worrying about, or just, it just falls, people just don't take care of their legacy.
Yes.
That's the best word I can say. Taking care of your legacy. I think a lot of people get focused on money.
Yes.
And not seeing the big picture of your legacy. And for black men back in the old days, land was their legacy. They saw it as being, fruitful, as having food and providing for their family, because they knew how to have hogs and they knew how to have a garden and they knew how to do all these different things. But the land was the legacy. So, before we go asking anybody for anything, I just think it's important that we continue to focus on what we do have and continue to take care of our generations and pass that torch and a legacy that you can never get back and you can lose, because once land is gone, you can't get that back.
That's facts.
And I think one of the biggest examples, I think I recently saw Flage and her family, like they bought a lot of land, So, just something to consider when you're thinking of your family, building and doing more.
You're right. Legacy. That was deep. That legacy is something that's very important, because that might be a part of our problem too. Nobody has any legacies to leave. Nobody has any legacies to leave. And see, that could be a part of the problem. Like the lower income housing, you take people off of land and say, hey, come here. Don't worry about getting on land. You come here and we're going to give you this.
They don't know the first thing to do when they get there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm here now. Where's all the help? And it's not help. It's just a handout. Hey, well, y'all got this building here. It says like a little welcome center, the office, and y'all got even a classroom over there. When y'all gonna do something to help? Man, you just made me think right then, sis. Y'all hear that? We don't even have no legacies to give. Land used to be our legacy.
And we have to support each other. And I think that's another part of how it used to be. People gave more, people shared more. Even, people, if you had a crop, you shared it. You didn't keep it for yourself. It wasn't enough for you to eat all by yourself. But there was barter, just like it was in Tulsa with everything that they did. But, you have to learn how to share the wealth. And your blessings don't come from keeping your fist closed.
That's right. That's right. And when you keep that fist closed, what's going to open it? You trying to receive without giving. And that whole legacies thing has got me thrown, because that is big. And that adds a lot of things to my mind about where everything's going wrong. We don't have nothing for nobody to take pride in, because what are we going to leave them? What are we going to leave them?
And even if you don't have seeds, like I'm someone who don't have children, but you have to think about other people in your family.
Yes.
You take care of other people's kids. That's what family did. You take care of the others in your family, and those values that were passed down to you pass them down to other people. You don't hold on to your jewels. You pass your jewels on.
That's facts. Well, I do have to do this. Everyone, I am making an executive order today, and we will be crowning Janice Baker as Queen Janice Baker.
What in the world?
Queen, if you would please stand.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, we doing this live. Oh yeah, y'all see it. Y'all see it. You're doing right. There we go.
Jesus.
Queen Baker, I present you with your crown.
Oh my gosh.
And we thank you. We thank you for your time and your dedication. Cause she waited tonight, y'all. She was going, ooh. She was about to be like, what's that girl name that hit her in the ankles? You remember what I'm talking about?
No, what are you talking about?
See, I was gonna say it wrong. I was about to say Lorena Bobbitt, but that's not Lorena Bobbitt. Was the other.
No,
you know what I'm talking about?
No.
The lady with the crowbar that hit the lady for the skating.
Oh, Tanya Hardin.
There you go. She was gonna Tanya Hardin me, but is there anything that you would like to say, Queen Baker, before we leave today?
Well, thank you for my crown. I appreciate it. Ooh.
There we go. Oh, it's the headphones.
It's the headset.
There you go.
I apologize. But I appreciate the thoughtful gesture, and I always appreciate coming and sitting down with you and the other kings.
Yes.
So appreciate the opportunity. Nothing really pressing on the heart today. Just want everybody to consider we're in the last day of October tomorrow, and the holidays are upon us. So as we tend to approach the holidays, it gets to be a little tough for people.
Yes.
And emotional. And I always like to say to consider and look out for those nonverbals with people, because sometimes people don't tend to speak up or talk because they're going the things that they're going through. So always, see how you can be a blessing to somebody.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving first, and then Christmas and New Year's, and then we're back in 2025.
Right.
You guys,
right.
2 more months and we are in saying Happy New Year.
Dang.
So as we start another cycle, this one comes to a close, just continue to always want to be better, strive to be better, do better, and always bring somebody along with you to have an experience that they may not have had before.
That's right.
And that's it. That's all I got.
Thank you, Queen Baker.
Thank you.
Well, kings and queens, this is what I have to say. She's right. Bring somebody along for that experience, because you don't know what they're not experiencing or they're experiencing by themselves. Mm-hmm. It's always good to have that positive outlook on life, guys. But the one message that I want to get across is we can't forget. I didn't say we couldn't forgive. I'm not saying that we have to be malicious, but we can't forget where we've come from, because I think a part of that, and not taking pride in all of the sacrifices that's been made, is where we're really going wrong. Because no, our legacy is not all filled with pain and anguish. We really built something, and we can't forget about what we did build. Because we didn't just come just straight from slavery and then to the projects. That's not how it happened. We didn't never not accomplish anything. The things that we accomplished were just not talked about. It wasn't mainstream, as they say. So don't forget where you've come from. Mm-hmm. Don't forget the sacrifices that were made. And don't forget that you're kings and queens. And I appreciate you.
Go vote.
Go vote.
Yes.
Thank you guys for watching. It's your boy, King Conda, the People's Champ, and I'm out.